Good morning everyone, guess where I am today? I'm on board the number 93 as we head northwards from Morden all the way up to Wimbledon and Putney on this fine Saturday afternoon in May 2026. It's 2 days after my birthday. We've just left Morden station. We're travelling along London Road in Morden as we head eastwards. I'm travelling on my way to a wedding hire in Putney. Hope you're all well, hope you're keeping out of mischief on this fine day. I'm trying to, as you know. But looks can be deceiving as it's 2 days after my birthday. So yes, I've turned 51. The big 5-1. And what better way to spend my birthday, well 2 days after my birthday, than a nice private hire working up in town as we start off from Putney. So here we are, this is London Road in Morden, my local neck of the woods. We are now shortly coming up to the Morden Hall roundabout just up ahead. This junction here will be turning left onto the southern end of Morden Road. So this is now the southern end of Morden Road that we're travelling into, part of the A24, which of course links London with the seaside town of Worthing in West Sussex. The police. Someone said some naughty words on Facebook. So now we're heading northwards along the slightly bumpy section of the A24 along the Morden Road. Honestly, the state of these roads in Merton. Here we are, got another police vehicle passing alongside us. Passing Dorset Road to the left hand side, that's Dorset Road over there, which takes you to Merton Park. So now coming up to Morden Road tram stop, which is just here on the left hand side. There's the Croydon tram link line that takes you from West Croydon into Wimbledon. So very shortly we're now coming into Merton. So this bus stop here,
Putney Bridge.
There we are, Morden Road tram stop, served by routes 93, 470 and of course night bus routes N155. Another police car there, plainclothes division. It's an undercover police car until it puts its lights and sirens on, then it becomes an overt police car, but you probably knew that already. And it's ironic really, because just at this junction here you've got the Prince of Wales pub on the left hand side, and this junction coming up on the right hand side, that's Jubilee Way, which takes you to the former Thames TV studios where they used to film The Bill between 1990 and 2010. So now coming up to the junction with Merton Way on the right hand side. This used to be the old Merton Abbey railway line that used to go from Merton Park to Tooting,
Road, South Wimbledon
which
Station.
closed in 1972. So now we're coming up to South Wimbledon. You've got the Priory Estate on the right hand side. You've got another 93 there going south towards North Cheam. So we're coming up to the junction at South Wimbledon Underground Station on the right hand side. So this is one of the busy road junctions here. This is the South London intersection and South Wimbledon intersection.
Putney Bridge.
Just visible on the right hand side you can just see South Wimbledon Station, which celebrates its centenary later this year, when the southern section of the Northern Line opened in 1926 between Clapham Common, Clapham South, Balham and Morden. So we're now about to join into the flow of northbound traffic here in South Wimbledon. So we're coming up to 5 minutes into our journey from Morden. So that on the right, there's South Wimbledon Station there. designed and built by Charles Holden
Road.
back in 1926. So that's South Wimbledon station there. So we're continuing to head north into Merton Road, passing a number 57 on the right, passing down for Tooting, Streatham and Clapham Park. So we're now heading north along Merton Road in South Wimbledon, passing the Esso filling station on the right hand side. I do apologise for the slightly jittery camera work, but it's the state of these roads. They're all very lumpy and bumpy round in this part of the world.
93 to Putney Bridge.
So yeah, I'm travelling up to Putney, so I'll probably be getting off this bus at Putney station, and I've just got a short walk round the corner onto the Upper Richmond Road to get to the my private hire working. So now we're coming up to Wimbledon in the next couple of minutes, Wimbledon Town Centre.
The Polka Theatre.
Coming up on the right hand side, just to the right of this number 93, you've got St Winifred's Church. This is St Winifred's Roman Catholic Church. So we're now turning left onto the Broadway, the eastern end of the Broadway. So now we're on the Broadway heading west into Wimbledon Town Centre, opposite the Polka Theatre where I used to go to with school as a child. Still doing excellent business today, I need to add. So now coming up to the junction where we go straight on, we've got Montague Road on the left, Trinity Road on the right, and the recently rebuilt branch of the YMCA, Wimbledon YMCA on the right. So this street is called the Broadway. Originally it was called Merton Road, but they called it the Broadway in 1910 following the opening of Wimbledon Theatre, which we're coming up to, just to make the street sound a bit more glam. So in the centre of your screen there's the iconic dome, cupola and angel of Wimbledon Theatre, one of the many local landmarks here in the town of Wimbledon, and a place that I've frequented many a time. Very shortly we're about to travel onto the infamous Wimbledon one-way system, which was built back in 1992.
Putney Bridge.
So yes, this is Wimbledon Town Centre we're coming into now. The heart of the fun and games here in Wimbledon. Along with the rainbow crossing just in front of us here. And another number 93 on its way to North Cheam.
Wimbledon bus station.
So at these traffic lights up ahead we do a mandatory left turn into Gladstone Road and onto the Wimbledon one-way system. Just in front of us here, this modern building, this TK Maxx, that used to be the old Wimbledon branch of Woolworths. And it was rebuilt in 1982 following the original store, which was destroyed by a fire back in 1981. And I remember that incident well because I was only 6 years old at the time and could actually see the smoke from where we used to live in Warple Road. So that TK Maxx just behind these traffic lights straight in front of us, that used to be the old Wimbledon branch of Woolworths until about 2009. I used to love going shopping in there with my mum. Famous pick and mix counter and stuff. All happy days. So now we're turning into Gladstone Road. So this is the top end of Gladstone Road, and then we do a right into Wimbledon bus station, which is just coming up now. So this is Wimbledon bus station in all its glory. We stop at stop G here at Wimbledon bus station. The bus stop which is also served by buses on Route 200 and 219. So Cyril Black Way is on the left hand side, which is that road there.
To Putney Bridge.
And that road never used to exist until 1992 when it became part of the Wimbledon one-way system. So now we leave the bus station and then we wait at these traffic lights as we wait to join onto the traffic onto the Cyril Black Way. So at this junction we're coming up to Hartfield Road. If you go left, that takes you towards Merton Park. We're going right towards Wimbledon and Putney. So now we're going on this dedicated bus lane along the northern end of Hartfield Road in Wimbledon town centre.
Wimbledon Station.
So now we're coming up to this hideous looking white building, affectionately known as the Fridge on the Bridge, built back in 1991. I remember when they were building it, and what they've done, they've slightly modernised it now to make it look a bit more contemporary, which is good. So this is Wimbledon Bridge House on the left hand side, affectionately nicknamed the Fridge on the Bridge. As you can see, it's not the most awe-inspiring of buildings,
93. To
but at least it's trying to look a bit
Putney
more
Bridge.
modern now, so they're starting to rebuild it. So hopefully in the next couple of years these buildings will look a bit more attractive. So yeah, this is the northern end of Hartfield Road, so we're right in the heart of Wimbledon town centre now. So very shortly at the top we'll curve round and then we'll turn left onto Wimbledon Bridge. We turn left towards the direction of Wimbledon Village and Putney. Here we go, the doors are closing. And onwards we go. On the left we've got Wimbledon's branch of Oldie, which opened last year. So we're about to turn left onto Wimbledon Bridge. So this is Wimbledon Bridge itself, these fine buildings here from the 1920s. So we're now heading westwards. We're on Wimbledon Bridge itself. Just on the right, just turning off on the right, you'll see Wimbledon Station. Main entrance to Wimbledon Station being served by the District Line, South Western Railway and Thameslink services, as well as the Croydon Tramlink. This junction up ahead is always busy. It's even more busy when the school run happens. Just on the left is the famous St George's development, which was built in the early 1980s. Just over there, there's Wimbledon Station, just behind the trees. Wimbledon Station being rebuilt by the Southern Railway in 1928.
Wimbledon Hill Road.
So now we're on the bottom end of Wimbledon Hill Road as we head north to northwestwards. Up the hill towards Wimbledon Village, passing the Alexandra pub on the right hand side, and Wimbledon Library just here on the right. One of these fine Victorian buildings as well. So this is the lower end of Wimbledon Hill Road. Still on the A219 heading towards the direction of Wimbledon Village and Putney. And then after we leave the stop we'll go up the Gentle Hill
93.
and into
To
Wimbledon Village.
Putney Bridge.
This stop being served by buses on Route 93, 200 and 493. 93 to Putney Bridge, 200 to Rains Park and the 493 to Richmond. Doors are closed and away we go. So this is where Wimbledon Hill Road really does begin, where the hill goes upwards. Just got to wait at these traffic lights. On the left hand side is Mansell Road, on the right hand side is Woodside, which takes you down towards Wimbledon Park. But we're going straight on up the hill. Wimbledon Hill Road is really nice because you've got all these trees and gardens on the right hand side of the street, which were refurbished a few years ago, and it really looks nice. It's a nice street to walk up and down, especially at this time of the year when you've got all the trees in leaf. So this is Wimbledon Hill Road going up the Gentle Hill, as you can see. Years ago I remember travelling on a Route Master on the 93 and it took like forever. Because this hill it's on a gentle gradient, but it can be quite steep if you're walking it or if you're travelling on it on an old vehicle. I remember on the days when we had the RTs and the Route Masters on the 93, it took like an eternity. There's another 93 heading south to North Cheam. So now we're coming towards the top end of Wimbledon Hill Road as we approach Wimbledon Village. So at this junction here we've got the mini roundabout, where if you turn left you've got the Ridgeway, that takes you towards Rains Park and Cops Hill. So this is Wimbledon Village High Street, so we've got the High Street along here which runs in two parts. So you've got the southern end of the High Street, which is this bit here. There's one of the new Transport UK buses on the 493 bound for Tooting, St George's Hospital. One of the right to Electroliner kites on Route 493 from Richmond to St George's Hospital. So this is the southern part of Wimbledon Village High Street as we approach the junction with Church Road, and if you turn right at this junction up ahead, that takes you towards the Wimbledon tennis ground and Southfields and Wandsworth, etc. So whenever Wimbledon tennis is on, this area is always busy with tourists and spectators of the tennis as they enjoy their lunch and dinner and things. So this junction here, if you turn right, that takes you down towards Wimbledon Park and Southfields. There's the old Wimbledon Fire Station building, with this fine building here with the clock tower. So now we're coming to the northern section of Wimbledon High Street, which takes you up towards Wimbledon Common. So this is the northern part of Wimbledon High Street, or should it be Wimbledon Village High Street. So along here we've got the historic Rose and Crown pub, which is this pub just coming up on the right hand side. There's the Rose and Crown pub just there. Good place to go to have some lunch or bite to eat or some dinner. So very shortly we're coming up to the Wimbledon War Memorial as well as Wimbledon Common. We've got this newly installed zebra crossing just here, this new zebra crossing which was put in earlier in 2026. And if you turn right at this junction, that's Marriott Road, that takes you down to the Wimbledon Tennis Ground, or to give it its full title, the All England Lawn Tennis Club. There's an ambulance on its way to some emergency. Hopefully someone's going to get the medical treatment they deserve. Just coming up on the left, that's the Wimbledon War Memorial. This obelisk here, that's Wimbledon War Memorial, and it's also used as a bus terminus for the 93 occasionally. So on the left hand side here, this is Wimbledon Common, home of the Wombles back in the 1970s. Home of those famous Wimbledon characters, the Wombles. So now we're on the southern end of Parkside, this beautiful street here called Parkside, where we've got Wimbledon Common on the left hand side and these wonderful nice big houses on the right hand side. Also on the left hand side is this old cattle trough or horse trough just here on the side of the road. Years ago, those cattle troughs and horse troughs used to be filled with water so that horses could drink from them. Nowadays, most of them are used as either flower pots or other purposes. So this is Parkside, so we're heading north now. Still on the A219. So all these houses here, they cost a few £1,000,000 if you want to buy one. All got 5 or 6 or 7 bedrooms, swimming pools, helicopter pads and all that sort of stuff. In and out gravel drives. Well, as I call it, how the other half live. So we've got another 93 coming southwards in the far distance. One of the Enviro400 City vehicles, so same as the one I'm travelling on right now. To bring you this vlog, that one is EE150. Now the 93 used to have route masters up until September 1982, and I remember it well because one of my first bus rides as a kid was on the 93 when it was still a route master bus. And I remember hearing the sound of the engine and the sound of the bell and the sound of the Gibson machine, and that's what got me interested in buses and transport from a very young age. Once you've got the bug, you just can't let go. A bit like being in mafia, once you're in there you know too much. Very shortly on the right hand side we'll be passing the Parkside Hospital as well as the Pope's Ambassador's House for the UK, where the Pope paid a visit to Wimbledon back in 2012. So we've got the Parkside Hospital just there on the right hand side, and this grey building just behind these trees, that's actually the Pope's Ambassador's House to the UK, this fine building over there. That's the Pope's UK's Ambassador's residence. So we're coming up to the junction up ahead with Windmill Road. So on the left, this turning coming up on the left, that takes you towards Wimbledon Common Windmill.
Putney Bridge.
One of the few windmills which are still around in this part of London. So if you go down all the way down that way, that takes you to Wimbledon Windmill, down there. But we're continuing northwards along Parkside. Oh, we've got another 93. So very shortly we're coming up to the borough boundary between the London Borough of Merton and the London Borough of Wandsworth. So just here's the boundary, so we've just left Merton now and we've just gone on to the London Borough of Wandsworth as we head northwards towards Putney Heath. We've still got Wimbledon Common on the left hand side, but in the next 5 minutes we'll be coming up to Putney Heath and then eventually into Putney town centre itself. So this street is now called Wimbledon Parkside. Used to be Parkside earlier on, now this road is called Wimbledon Parkside. And at these traffic lights up ahead we go straight on. If you turn right at these traffic lights, that takes you all the way into Southfields. So we've got Inner Park Road, which is this junction just there on the right, that takes you into the housing estates of Southfields. As you can see, what a beautifully tree-lined street this is. Hard to believe you're in a densely populated part of southwest London. So this just goes to show how vast Wimbledon Common actually is. It covers such a massive area.
To Putney Bridge.
So we're now in the London Borough of Wandsworth. Originally this used to be Wandsworth Urban District Council up until 1965. And then it became the London Borough of Wandsworth upon the formation of the former Greater London Council in 1965. There's one of the few ponds over there, which make up Wimbledon Common. Occasionally you can see things like ducks and geese in the ponds, people feeding them bread and peas and grain and stuff.
Very quickly.
Very shortly we're coming up to Tibbetts Corner, which is the roundabout where we cross over the A3, the main London to Portsmouth road.
To Putney Bridge.
Tibbetts Corner being rebuilt in the 1960s when the A3 became a dual carriageway road. So we've got this traffic sign coming up on the left hand side to warn you of Tibbetts Corner up ahead. This area of London used to be quite well known for highway robberies back in the 1700s, because back then what is now the A3 was the main stagecoach route that ran from London all the way down to Portsmouth. So this is Tibbetts Corner that we're going on now,
Tibbetts Ride.
which is the roundabout at the southern end of the roundabout. So if you turn left at this junction, that takes you down to Guildford and Portsmouth. We're going to be turning right towards the direction of Putney Heath and Putney. And also the road continues northwards towards Fulham and Hammersmith. So that's the A3 just underneath here. So that takes you all the way down that way. That's the A3 that takes you all the way down towards Portsmouth. Give or take about a couple of hours and you'll get there. So now on the left hand side we've left Wimbledon Common and now we're coming to Putney Heath. So this is Putney Heath on the left hand side. And then eventually we'll be coming down Putney Hill.
93. To Putney Bridge.
I've actually got Debbie Gibson with me, so I've got my trusty Gibson machine with me today for my hen party hire in Putney. And as you know, Debbie Gibson doesn't let me down. Now very shortly coming up on the left we've got, you'll see the bus terminus for Route 14 and Route 37. Route 14 running from Tottenham Court Road and Route 37 running from Peckham. Originally it was just a terminus for Route 14 until 2008 when they rebuilt the bus terminus for
Green Man.
Route 37 to terminate those ones. So just coming up on the left hand side, there you are, there's the bus terminus there, opposite the famous Green Man pub just behind where those buses are. There's the Green Man pub just there, that white building, that little white cottage there. There's the Green Man pub just there. The historic Green Man pub that's been there for about 200 to 300 years. So now we're on Putney Hill. There's number 37 reaching Journey's End from Peckham. And coming up on the left hand side, these flats on the left hand side, that's Manor Fields, which gained notoriety back in 1985 when there was a major gas explosion.
To Putney Bridge.
And that was quite a major incident. There was a gas explosion which took place in Manor Fields, and that caused quite a lot of damage in this local area. I remember that because I was only about coming up to 10 years old at the time. So that's this wonderful flat development here on the left. This is Manor Fields. And it was one of these blocks of flats where there was a major gas explosion. Thankfully there was no loss of lives, just damage and debris everywhere, but it was quite a major incident at the time. Just coming up on the right hand side we've got two 93s. Some things never change, you've got two 93s there, so one of them's running early and another one's running late. Nice to know that you've still got 93s running in tandem with each other. So this is Putney Hill heading down towards Putney town centre itself. I remember my time on the number 14 here, going down here when the 14 still had route masters. until July 2005. This area on the left was the site of the former South Thames College. You've got the junction of Lytton Grove on the right, and you've got Putney High School for girls on the right hand side as well. So we're only a couple of minutes away from Putney now. So what I'll do, I'm going to get off the bus at Putney station, and then I'm going to make my way down to meet with the bus on the Upper Richmond Road. It's a nice gentle hill going down along Putney Hill. So yeah, you used to have route masters going down here on the 14 up until July 2005, 21 years ago. I remember it well like it was yesterday. So as you can see, we're now coming into Putney town centre itself. So this is the major crossroads with the Upper Richmond Road. So this is Putney. Yeah, I've got number 14 going up Putney Hill on the remainder of its journey to Putney Heath. And then you've also got an 85 coming up the hill as well on its way to Kingston.
93 to Putney Bridge.
So we've got one of the first bus London buses on the 85 to Roehampton and Kingston. And you've got number 39 on its way to Southfields, Wandsworth and Clapham Junction, just in the middle of your screen there. So this is the main junction with the Upper Richmond Road. So the Upper Richmond Road crosses here at right angles. So if you head right at this junction, that takes you towards Wandsworth. And if you turn left at this junction, that takes you towards Eastsheen and Richmond itself. So I'm going to get off at the next stop, just opposite Putney Station. Putney Station just behind these buildings on the right hand side. And you've got the famous railway pub, which is this superb building on the left hand side, on the other side of the road, just here. Now if I've got a bit of time, I might show you Putney Garage. Putney Bus Garage on Chelverton Road, where I had some fun times back in the day, back in the 90s, doing the 14s and the 22s. Oh, got Route Master. Oh my word.
Putney Station.
Oh, Route Master. Woohoo, that's RM1771. Now I'm going to get off here and I might see if I can photograph that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to